All right, here we go. Another episode of Talkin Dodgers. Trying something new with the overlays. So, be patient. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. Max, this will be your first time seeing it. I'm Robbie. This is Aaron. Max has the day off again. That's totally fine. Really fast. Today we're going to be talking about, the Mookie Betts and Gavin Lux switch up. We're going to talk about Trevor Bauer a little bit. We didn't touch on Yamamoto's performance last week, so we're going to hit that a little bit. We'll talk about what the pitching situation looks like now with Gratterall hurt. We'll talk about Gavin Stone, Michael Grove, and, maybe we'll talk about, Shohei Ohtani at some point. All right, real fast before we get going, if you like what you're hearing, if you like what you hear, you like what you're seeing, click the like buttons, click the thumbs up, click the follow. Check us out at patreon.com/rotyourbrainmedia. Your support helps us make content. All right, now that we got all that stuff out of the way, this is a jam-packed episode. Let's see how much we can crunch in here in 30 minutes. Our goal is 30 minutes. We never hit it, but let's go for it. All right, so let's talk about the first thing, Yamamoto. So he had his first game, or his game last Wednesday?
I believe it was last Wednesday, yes.
He went 3 innings pitched, 6 hits, gave up 5 earned runs, walked 3, and struck out 4. So I know it's spring, small sample size. It's only his second game pitching, but it does raise some concerns considering, it is only a second game. People might have watched him a little bit more on tape on his first game, figured him out. His control didn't seem like it was there because he walked 3 people, and he's known for his control. He's known for his spot pitching. What's your take on this, Aaron?
Man, so other than being a little disappointed, and obviously because he set the bar after his first outing, right?
Yeah.
And all the hype in the offseason, the contract especially.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely disappointed and was hoping for a little bit more consistency. So to me, what it looked like from what I saw, I don't think he was tipping his pitches because I know during the broadcast in his first outing, they were talking about that.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like he was tipping his pitches. It seems like he was messing around with certain grips, and which was affecting his command, which was affecting his arm action and his release point. So, and you could tell he was frustrated too, even though he's kind of a stoic guy. He's not a very emotional guy. Like a lot of the Japanese players, that's kind of how they are.
Right. And
totally fine. But yeah, I'm definitely looking for another strong outing this week because I'm thinking he's either pitching today or tomorrow, and that's going to be his last outing of the spring. So
I'm going to look it up right now while you're talking.
Let's do that.
Let's see if they've announced it yet.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely, we all need and want to see him one more time, and hopefully it's a 4-inning outing because right now it's, all the starters are going 3 innings basically.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to see him for another inning just to see if he could kind of rectify what he'd done in the previous 3 innings of that last start. But right. I understand the protocol during spring. I get it. So yeah, it seemed like he didn't have much bite on his sinker.
On any of his pitches.
Yeah, his off-speed pitches just didn't have anything going on. I mean, his velocity was there. That's fine. But, yeah, definitely a little concerning. So
keep in mind, though, also, even though he didn't have the bite, and he did give up 5 earned runs, he did also strike out 4. So there was some kind of command there. Whether it was just guys just trying to jump on pitches they shouldn't be swinging because they felt like if they had him on the ropes or whatever.
Yeah.
It is concerning. Hopefully, he's one of those pitchers that does really well on a bounce back. And maybe you're right. He was working on grips. Maybe he had to change his delivery a little bit because he was tipping pitches and maybe that was throwing him off. Because keep in mind also, I remember at some point in the broadcast, even the announcers were kind of like, has he just been pitching from the stretch the entire game?
They did say that.
And
correct.
It wasn't. It was basically the leadoff hitter on every single inning got on base.
So it seemed like he was starting every inning from the stretch, but he wasn't.
Yeah, the first pitch of the first inning was a base hit.
Right.
And so he only pitched from the windup maybe. I mean, I love the stat on this. How many balls, I guess we could just rewatch the game. How many balls did he actually throw from a windup?
Right.
I bet you it's not many. It might even be 5 or 6.
Well, I do know that I think it was the first inning, which was his worst because at the end of the first, I think it was 3-0 going into the bottom half.
Yeah, he had a clean second inning. Well, not super clean, but he got through the second inning without any runs. And the next inning, gave up a couple more.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm not super concerned because obviously it's one mediocre start. It could have been a lot worse where he didn't strike out anybody.
Right.
I know there was a couple of plays in the infield, which we'll definitely touch on here in a minute, that didn't help his situation and cause.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely Yamamoto. Let's go. Get it together. I'm sure he will. His stuff is too good. The guy was, in the second best league. How many times Cy Young winner? 3 times. So
yeah,
he's too good to have this keep going. So how many times has Kershaw had bad outings? Not often, but when it happened, we talked about it for sure. So
right. Oh, speaking of Kershaw, really fast, Kershaw was in the dugout in yesterday's game.
He was. I think it was like a little family barbecue around the yard yesterday and around the complex. That's what the announcers were talking about. So
he was sitting next to?
I did not. I didn't see the footage.
Matt Kemp.
Wow.
Him and Matt Kemp are sitting next to each other.
I love that.
Kemp's put on some weight.
Dodger legend Matt Kemp.
All right, so let's move on. We touched on Yamamoto. It seems like it's a late conversation, but we needed to have it. We didn't sync up as much as we wanted to last week, so it's super important. Let's talk about the other important thing.
Let's do it.
Changing topics. So Mookie Betts and Gavin Lux have switched positions. So we had talked about Gavin Lux quite a bit on this podcast, and a lot of other podcasts have talked about Gavin Lux throughout. He's a hot topic.
Yep.
And the reason why is because he's supposed to be the starting shortstop. He's one of the future pieces for the Dodgers, and he was supposed to be the starting shortstop last season. He got injured, so this is supposed to be his time. He has not looked good. He's got the yips. He's been hasn't made a clean throw to first. I don't think I ever saw it. Maybe he did. Maybe I missed a play.
There was a bounce throw to first on one hop, which was a good throw, but you can tell he was nervous about that throw.
So what I was thinking, what they were probably going to do is send him down to the minors, let him work on his throws, and when he gets strong enough, better bring him up. You still had Rojas, you had Kike, you've got
Chris Taylor,
and then you've got Trey Sweeney, and you also got the dude that they just picked up.
Lipsius.
He looks pretty darn good.
Yeah, and he's a third baseman too. Actually, Lipsius. He can play both.
Right. So you have your options. So and Gavin's still. We think, still probably trying to get his strength under him, trying to get his legs going. So
Absolutely.
Who knows? I did not think the move would have been to move Mookie from second to shortstop because Mookie's been working on that, I'm assuming, the entire offseason, thinking he's the starting second baseman.
Now all of a sudden, drastic change. And this affects a lot of players. And this is not only just a drastic change, this is a change that not only affects Gavin Lux, but I think it's going to affect Rojas. And I don't think anyone's talking about Rojas because Mookie, it doesn't look like Mookie's just going to be at shortstop for when Gavin Lux is in the lineup. It looks like that's where Mookie's going to be playing. Permanent for now, that's his spot. Well, we need his bat, so...
You need his bat.
Yep.
But Rojas' main thing was backup at shortstop.
Right.
So we saw yesterday's game, Mookie's in the lineup, Gavin Lux is not. Mookie's playing shortstop, you got Kike at second base.
Right.
So it's not going to be one of those things ever so often. So your take on this whole thing, because I'm baffled by it. I have an idea what I think happened behind the scenes, but I want to hear what you think first, and I'll tell you what I think happened.
Yeah, man. Obviously, it's such a... I used the word drastic, and I'll use it again because did not expect that. Did I expect Lux maybe to sit out for a game or two and have him still at shortstop? Yeah, and keep Mookie at second.
Right.
My whole thing is I was actually thinking about this last night before we were coming in today. I was like, how is this going to affect them at the plate? Because now they got to think about different things. When you play short, you got to think about different things. You got to think about your lateral movement. You got to think about your arm strength, how hard you're going to throw the ball. Now, these guys have been doing this for years, and they've pretty much played every position possible. But it is a consistency thing. And to make this change at the time, I think that's the thing that I'm questioning the most is the timing of it all. And is this just a thing for spring training? Because we got the season opener here in 9 days in Korea. So is this going to happen, or is Rojas going to be there all of a sudden? There's some question marks here, and it's shortstop. It's not like it's left field. It's shortstop is probably the most position in the field besides pitcher. It's the most important.
I believe it's pitcher, catcher, shortstop.
Yeah, man. So I don't know, dude. I'm looking at it like, okay, I'm hoping this doesn't affect the offense. And obviously we want solid defense up the middle. If we need to put Rojas in there at short and move Mookie back to second, I'm totally fine with that. We don't really need Rojas's bat. If he gives us a 230 average with some key hits here and there and gets on base here and there, cool. He could be another guy that Mookie, Ohtani, and Freeman can hit in. But his defense, to me, is invaluable, and we just don't have that from either Mookie or Gavin. And I hate to say it because Mookie is a great defensive player. Obviously, he's won how many Gold Gloves?
I think it's 6.
6 Gold Gloves in 10 years of playing.
Maybe 5. I'm not too sure.
Right. So
that's Max's department.
Exactly. Max, you can fact check that. But, yeah, let's see what happens, man. But I wouldn't mind a Rojas going back to shortstop and hitting 9th, honestly. What do you feel, Robbie?
Well, I'm just puzzled by the whole thing. So, I mean, and I agree with you. If I would be fine with look what happened last year. Look what you did last year without Lux, without having a prim or like a major threat on offense.
We
playing
were still
shortstop.
top 2 or 3 in every offensive major category.
Exactly.
The whole season.
That's why it's a little strange to take Mookie out of a comfort zone that he's been basically, working on the entire offseason. Because like I said, you have other options that you could put at shortstop, and they're actually really good defensive options. I've seen Kike make some fabulous plays at shortstop. I've seen Chris Taylor make fabulous plays at shortstop. It's not like these backups are just like, these guys would be starting in most other teams
every day.
Yeah, and so that's why it's kind of like, I wouldn't say most other teams. Let me replace that. They'd be starting on teams that are not contending all the time.
I think that's
a safe way to say that.
That's a good way to put it.
So it's like, that means that they really think that Gavin Lux's bat is going to be a force to be reckoned with. I really think that. They think that his bat is going to be, it justifies not using these other players in that position. And they want to keep him in the lineup as much as possible. What I am hearing though is that he's not he's playing second base. He's only going to be there on righties. Then that's when you get Kike and you get Chris Taylor or someone else in the lineup for lefties.
Right.
And I was I think we already knew that even with shortstop. I think that might have been the plan already. But still, it's just, if you're already going to do that anyways, he's not going to play, or he's not going to start. I mean, I don't know what the percentage is between left-handed pitchers and right-handed pitchers.
Yeah, I'm not sure what his splits are.
Let's say it's 30% lefty starters in the league, and there's 70% righty starters in the league. I'm just making this up. I don't even know. Right. So he already wasn't going to play in 30% of your games, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, that 70% you value the defensive aspect. I mean, you value his bat more than the defense aspect
it's a coin
of it, to
flip.
move him over to second base, and or just it's weird because last year I don't remember even having a conversation about his throwing because he did pretty well in spring. I mean, I'm trying to remember when he broke his leg. I feel like it was like towards the end of spring.
No, I think it was like the first or second game.
Was it really that early?
Game. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it was. Yep. We can look it up.
I'm gonna look that up.
But no, I know what you're saying, man. It feels like a roll of the dice here, and I'm not sure we can afford that just with all the contracts, all the offseason acquisitions, the high salaries. There is so much expectation here for us to not only just win over 100-plus games like we always do, but obviously take it all in October and early November. So,
yeah,
I mean, the way we start off is very important. I do know that, yes, Lux is a better hitter than defensive player. We already know that.
You're right. Like, as far as he only played 2 games.
So it was like the second game or something like that. It was the
second game. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So I guess we never actually really got to see Gavin Lux play shortstop a lot.
No.
For some reason, I always felt like it was like towards the end of spring, like it was the 3rd or 4th game at the end of spring or something like that. But I was completely wrong. You're right. He only played 2 games.
He only played the 2 games. And I want to say in 2 years ago, in 2022, I know he did play some short here and there, but it wasn't a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think he only came in like towards the end of a game too. I don't think he would start him.
No. So it's very, very small sample size of seeing him defensively at short. And is it an overreaction by the organization, by the manager? I don't know.
Well, okay. So this is now we're going to go into what I think happened behind the scenes.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
I think Mookie wanted shortstop to begin with. I think Mookie at some point had a conversation and said, "Hey, dude, if this doesn't work out, I want shortstop. Like, give it to me. I want to take it."
Okay.
Because he seems He's trying not to hold it. I mean, I don't know if you actually listen to, because he's got his own podcast, which is actually pretty cool.
I've heard of it. I haven't listened to it.
Go listen to that. He's got Swansby on it from the Cubs.
Yeah.
And so they're talking shortstop stuff and everything.
Swanson.
Yeah. Swanson, yeah.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Swansby.
I like that better.
I kind of like Swansby better.
So let's do Swansby.
Yeah. Kind of like lip shit.
But he seems like he's excited to play shortstop. And it's I think there was a conversation behind the scenes. Like, hey, I'm going to come into the infield.
I mean,
it doesn't work out. I want the shortstop position. Let me try it out. Let me see what I can do with it. And he's looked so far. I mean, he looks like a guy who's trying to get used to the position, but he already looks 1,000 times better than Lux does. He does.
You're right.
He looks better. I've already seen he's already made some throws to first base. He tried to turn into a couple times. One of them, it was like the one that I did see, it was like there's no way you could have got the guy at first, but he actually did. He made a very athletic move to get the ball from Lux and try to jump and throw the ball.
I saw that play.
And there's no way he would have got him, but it was still a good looking play. If there's anybody else maybe a little bit slower than who was running, it's possible.
He might have got him.
Might have, but
yeah.
He definitely looks like he's more of an athletic player than Lux is. And it could be also because of Lux's leg. Maybe his knee and something like that is still getting better.
I was just going to touch. Maybe he's still recovering and it's not 100%. And he's sore from the running the bases, from the hitting, playing the field. So, I mean, I don't know. When I saw something about it the other day, I think it was like Thursday, they had just touched on it.
Right.
Like, hey, there might be something to this. And then all of a sudden, the next day, we get the report on Friday. Right. Major shakeup within the organization, blah, blah, blah.
I'm shocked.
I'm like, okay. We just need some stability here.
Yeah. And
That's
what
we want.
I'm gonna throw Muncy in on this conversation really quick because I keep hearing people like calling out Max as Muncy's defense is one of the reasons why this was changed, because you can't have two of these liabilities on the left side. First of all, Muncy he's not the greatest third baseman defensively, but he's also not the worst. He's made some pretty darn good plays. And everybody keeps looking at spring. I mean, we can look at last year and look how much better he got last year. We can look at spring training and look how he looks right now. But I'll tell you right now, nobody in the infield has looked good at any of the positions.
Yeah.
Freeman's missed a couple balls he should have definitely picked.
Yep. He normally would.
Betts didn't look great at second base. We talked about that. Lux didn't look good at shortstop. Muncy's had his issues at third base, but guess what it is? It's spring training.
Yep.
There's a reason why there's spring training is so these guys can get used to playing baseball again on a regular basis. These guys are going to make mistakes.
Yep.
You're talking about like Freddie Freeman missed what I've seen 2 or 3 balls that he should have picked. He's a Gold Glove winner. He's one of the best defensive players in the league, and he's messing up in
for
spring.
A decade. Yep.
Exactly. So Muncy is not the issue. That's not the reason why. And if he was the issue, you're not going to take Betts and put Betts at shortstop right now.
Right.
You would take Rojas and you'd put Rojas at shortstop and you would leave Betts at second base.
Yep.
So
and then Lux comes in and hits against righties, Rojas against lefties, whatever you want to do.
And I'm not saying I'm the greatest Max Muncy fan on the planet, but at the same time, we have to be a little bit realistic.
But we need his bat in there too.
We need his bat, but we also need to be realistic. So, that guy he was also one of the best defensive first basemen in the league.
Yep. 3 years ago.
And I still feel like he should have won Gold Glove over Freddie Freeman.
Yep.
He also plays a really good second base, and you ask him to move from one side of the diamond to the other side of the diamond, and he makes plays. He's not going to make a diving spectacular play. He's not going to make but he's going to make the routine plays.
He'll make the routine play.
And maybe he'll dazzle you ever so often. And for a guy who can hit over 30 home runs and give you 100 RBIs, that's not a liability at third base.
No.
That's basically what you want.
Yep.
So,
and if we were to pull up other stats from some other guys, I guarantee you their offense is not what Max Muncy's offense is at third base. So if we can live with a fielding percentage of 980 instead of 990.
This is what Max would have already pulled the fielding percentage. And also, we can't always go off of fielding percentage because there's faster. I mean, there's another guy that I listen to all the time, and he's absolutely right. Fielding percentage is based on how you play an actual ball, but it doesn't take into account who's getting to more balls than the other person. So if a faster player is getting to more balls than the other player and he bobbles 1 out of 10 of those, his fielding percentage is going to be lower, but yet he's getting to more balls than the other person.
Getting to more balls.
So it's kind of hard to go off of that. I would just go off of his errors. I know he had a decent amount of errors. I can think of some games during the season
there's quite a
that
few.
I was a little upset with, but I can also say the same thing about pretty much any position with the exception of right field was pretty consistent all the way through the season.
Center field, Outman was pretty good.
He was pretty good, but he had his moments as well.
Yeah.
It's also baseball. It's a hard sport. Things are going to happen. All
yeah.
right. I think we've touched, like, look, if Betts can pull it off, then I think it's a great move. I'm a little disappointed because I think his odds of winning a Gold Glove at shortstop are very low. I feel like he could have done it at second base. I don't think he's going to be able to do it at shortstop. And you're talking about a guy who was willing to leave a position that he was getting Gold Gloves consistently. And 100%. The reason why he didn't get a Gold Glove last year because because he moved in from the outfield to the infield. And now I think he was going for that Gold Glove. And now you moved him to shortstop. But I also think he wants to be a shortstop. So who knows? It's going to be interesting. We're going to see how it works out.
Yeah, it is. And let's just, hope for the best, because whoever is the best man for the job, let's just get it done. Let's get the consistency. 9 days away from opening day here. Yeah. So something's got to change here. And speaking of that, we should maybe touch on the opening day with Gratterall about to miss the Korea trip.
Let's move the Bauer thing all the way to the end.
That's good.
Yeah, that was supposed to be next, but you're right. I was actually thinking the same thing. Let's talk about Gratterall.
Yeah.
All right, so Gratterall, he's gonna probably start the season on the IL. He's not gonna make the Korea trip. Let me see something really quick. So I'm gonna look something up really fast. Why don't you talk about the options right now for Gratterall?
Well, so basically, that video that you pulled up, that's great with him and his mom. I love that.
Yeah, I wish I could show it right now on the overlays.
I know.
I can't do it.
I know. But the fans know. The fans know. That was from last season.
Yeah.
So basically what I'm saying here, he is not going to make the trip, and so basically he has discomfort
in his hip, which is good.
Right. It's not his arm.
Not his arm.
So that's perfect.
Do you remember, really fast, I can't remember what team we got Gratterall from, but
he was part of the Mookie deal.
Was he Mookie? No, but he came from a different team.
He was part of a different deal around the same time. He came from Minnesota.
Right. But there was an issue with his health.
Yep.
And so something wasn't going to happen. Like, I don't know if, like, I feel like I'm shocked the way that he pitches that his arm has not fallen off yet, because he throws 100 miles an hour, supposedly, even though I'm still shocked he's not missing more bats, but he doesn't use his back. It's like all arm.
It's all arm.
It's all arm, no body. So could you imagine if he just like used the rest of his body?
You know what?
Man.
It's been a trend the last, I don't know, I'm going to go ahead and say the last 10, 15, maybe even 20 years. You don't see a lot of pitchers using their back and lower half. It's all upper body. So I guess his injury concern,
I don't know if that's true.
Well, I would have to look at some.
Well, now I'm going to be
tape.
paying attention.
You should.
Okay.
You should. And I'm not saying everybody's doing it, but there's a lot of guys you can just tell are very stiff, very upper body.
All right. Well, Bobby Miller's starting the game today. I'm going to be watching that game, and every single picture that's up there, I'm going to tell you, this guy uses his back. This guy doesn't use his back.
You'll text
Bobby
me
Miller's got to be using his back.
Well, yes. My whole thing is a lot of these guys don't use their lower body.
Like as much, I guess, as much as they used to.
Exactly.
Like
if you go back 50
like the Billingsleys, like Chad Billingsley, when he had like those huge thighs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had he was thigh guy. Quadzilla.
His career didn't last. Maybe they're like, if your thighs are too big, your career's too small.
Maybe, man.
Who knows?
But I know Gratterall, it's telling me here that he does have shoulder soreness because of his lower half, because of the hip. So you're going to put more stress on it, obviously, to try to overcompensate.
So you think it's also his arm, even though they're saying on here it's just the hip?
It's shoulder soreness.
So it puts more stress. You're right. Okay, I'm reading this right now.
Exactly.
It's not working right. It puts more stress on your arms.
So,
okay, yeah. So did you pre-read? Did you prep for this podcast?
I try to be as professional as I can be.
What a cheater. All right, go ahead.
Well, so it looks like they're talking about Matt Gage, the guy that we got from the Yankees, possibly taking that roster spot from Gratterall in Korea, at least, and or Daniel Hudson, which we don't know anything about Gage, so I definitely would prefer Hudson because he has the career, he has the stats and the experience there.
Oh, you're reading the same thing I'm reading. You cheater. I'm like, wait a second, that's what they're talking about now in this article.
I did do research, but I'm also reading at the same time.
I got you.
So there you go. There you go, Dodger fans.
And Blake Triton still, they're not sure about his availability right now.
I haven't heard anything new. So
dude, when's the last time you saw a pitcher take one off the chest, like on the rib cage?
It's been a long time. I think the last time I saw any pitcher get hit with a line drive back at them was Dustin May in 2019, his rookie year. He took one off the dome. Wow. And I want to say that was against It might have been against Milwaukee. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, that's the last time I remember seeing it. So prayers to Trinan, because we need Balake there. We need that arm. We need him for, even if not the whole season, but
Right.
Get well, man. Get well. That's gnarly, because that ball's coming at you 100+ miles an hour. We might have a broken rib. If he's got a broken or cracked rib, he's going to be out for a couple months, which would suck.
Right.
But, hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's just a bad bruise and he's going to be cool for the next, maybe he comes back next week. We'll see.
So let's play the game of really fast.
Yep.
Who's our pitchers on? Because I feel like position players are kind of locked. I think we
This is where we need theme music.
I know. I don't have it right now.
I know.
But so the Dodgers are, I guess, you can carry 13 pitchers
right
to 14 pitchers.
Yep. Which would be crazy. 14 pitchers and only 12 position players. But,
yeah. So right now, if you're just counting starters, there's 5 players right there. I had a list that I worked off of one of these episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can find it really fast.
Yeah.
Here we go. So your starting pitchers, Glasnow, Paxton, Miller, Yamamoto are your top 4 that you know for sure. And then we're still battling for the 5th spot, but I think we can basically say I think it's going to be Gavin Stone, because you came out and said Yarbrough. They said that Yarbrough is going to be the long man.
He's going to be more of a long man.
And I know that. Yep. And I've been rooting for Michael Grove, but he's only had one good outing this entire spring, even though it was a fabulous outing.
Great outing.
It was a great outing. But one game's not going to get you on the top, and Gavin Stone has been pretty locked in.
He's been more consistent than Grove, definitely. So I would definitely put Stone above Grove. Now, if Grove has one more outing, maybe he comes in out of the bullpen or something in the next couple of days or something,
they go
just because they want to see.
Or they actually end up announce that it is dude, it's got to be a 5th man starter rotation. It's just got to be. Or 6th man.
Oh, it's going to be 6. It's going to be 6.
All right, so let's keep going. So
let's do it.
You got those 4. So Gavin Stone is your 5, right? So there's 5 pitchers right there.
Pretty safe to say he's going to be the 5th.
All right, so they're going to take Yarbrough. They said that they're going to take Yarbrough.
Yep.
Emmett Sheehan, I believe, is going to start on the IL.
He's going to be on the IL.
So we're going to go ahead and say he is not going to be a person. So let's go ahead and just basically move him over.
Yep.
You got Evan Phillips, definitely. So he's going to be your 7th pitcher on the squad. You got Joe Kelly. He's going to be your 8th pitcher on the squad. You got Ryan Brazier. He's going to be your 9th pitcher on the squad. You got Blake Triton, if he's healthy, which we think he is.
Hopefully.
10th pitcher on the squad. Gratterall is going to start on the IL, so he's off. Daniel Hudson. They're talking about Daniel Hudson. They haven't said for sure if he's going to be on.
Well, he's got an opt-out clause in his contract, I just read.
So they can't send him
on March 15th, so he doesn't really have options. Right.
So they're going to probably keep him.
Yep. Okay. I hope so. I love Hudson, man. When that guy is right and healthy, that guy is filthy. And he's older now. I want to say he's about 37 going on 38, but he still has it.
What are they talking about Vesia? Because I keep hearing that they want Yarbrough in the bullpen because they need left-handed pitching.
Right.
Is Vesia like?
He's still there. He's still an option. I mean, I've seen him several times this spring.
How's he looked? I haven't really seen him that much.
He's looked okay. Nothing spectacular, but that's kind of how he does his thing. You think he's
safe to say he's on the squad?
I'd say that, yeah.
All right, that's 12 pitchers. So if they actually end up going with the 14 pitchers.
Right.
All right, not 13. Let's say with the 14. You got Kyle Hurt, who's an option.
Yep.
Michael Grove.
Right.
Option, they've been using him.
Sure.
And then you mentioned another person. Am I missing somebody? Like, is there another big pitcher? Oh,
who else did we?
Oh, you got the guy that's got the really funny last name. Hold on a second. He pitched.
Oh, JP Fireheisen?
Fireheisen.
Yeah. He has not looked great this spring.
Yeah, he has not.
So I don't think he's going to be on that roster spot for Korea, at least from what I'm hearing and looking at. It's probably going to be between Stone and, what's the other guy's name we were just talking about?
Michael Grove.
Grove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so, not between Stone. Stone's on.
Well, Stone's on.
So
Grove and there's a Hudson there. There's Vesia.
Hurt.
So Hurt is a really interesting case because
he looks good.
Dude, that guy is so filthy. He can be a starter. He can be a bullpen piece. Yeah. I mean, to me, he's like another Dustin May, just maybe even a little bit, well, hopefully let's say healthier than Dustin May. He doesn't have the health issues, right? So,
right.
So he's an option as a guy that can come out and, okay, 4th inning, 5th inning, we want to bring somebody in. Let's try Kyle Hurt.
Yeah.
So definitely looking forward to seeing him. I love the younger arms that we have.
I love it. Like it's balanced out with with veterans, seasoned guys that
Very
have been there
good
quite
mix
a while.
of both.
So
Correct.
it's very good. That's basically what you want.
That's what we want, bro.
It looks like really like the only battle that's left right now is who's going to take those last 2-3 positions in the bullpen, and your options are really good. So this is a very good bullpen. I want to see how it stacks up. We have to do a couple episodes before the season starts, which is very quick.
Yep.
But I want to do the episodes how this team stacks up against other teams and just basically go position to position, bullpen, starting rotations versus starting rotations, and see and just we don't have to do the whole league, but let's just do the West. Right? Just start from the West. Look how they match up against the Giants and the Diamondbacks and the Rockies, Padres.
Yeah, we'll just start with the divisional opponents.
Yeah, and then maybe branch out after that. But It's a very good bullpen. I know how we were looking at our bullpen last year. Last year, before the start of the season, we were looking at our starting rotation, which looked amazing at the beginning of the starting rotation, and that was without Walker Buehler.
Well, that was without Buehler.
Yep. And now it's a completely different rotation. The only Bobby Miller, I think, was he on the starting rotation? He was not.
No.
So there's not a single starting pitcher.
Called him up in May last year.
That's right. There's not a single starting pitcher on the that's starting this season that was projected to start last season.
Yeah.
That's like super bad luck.
It is.
For the Dodgers on that. So, man, you just imagine if it did work out. Let's just say all those guys were healthy and nobody lost their arms. I don't want to play this game right now. But do you still go out and do you get Yamamoto? If May was good, if Gonson was good, and Walker Buehler didn't fall behind, because I think that probably had something to do with it as well.
Oh, it definitely had something to do with it. And
do you still spend that money? I mean, you probably do, because I think there's a lot more to the marketing aspect that they're going to make money off of in the Japanese market.
Just because, and they knew they were going to go after Ohtani and do whatever it took to get him, and the fact that they brought his boy over too, that just helps in the marketing plan.
Right.
But what I'm definitely, and I was actually thinking about this the other day too. Let's just hope that we have nothing what we had last year when it comes to our starters, because there was every week it was a new guy coming in. Basically, it seemed like. Yeah. And that's definitely. It affected our performance, in October against Arizona, unfortunately. So, I'm thinking we have more depth. We definitely have more depth, and the guys that we had to use last year out of necessity, they have the experience now where they're not just, deer in the headlights, so to speak. Yeah. So, I see you're pulling up Trevor Bauer there, Robbie.
It's time.
Is it time?
Is it
Bauer time?
It's Bauer time.
All right.
So,
let's do it.
Oh, man. All right.
All right.
This is a touchy,
We talked about this before we got on here.
We talked about this, how we actually want to address the situation of Bauer. I think it's something it's interesting to follow because of the situation that he's in. Yeah. Let's remember this though really fast. I don't have the numbers for it. This, Max, is your department. It's not like we should feel completely sorry for Bauer, because he is a multi-million. He got his money.
The Dodgers are still paying him, I think, $22 million this year.
Yeah. Is it this year still?
I believe so.
So he's making money. All right. So I find it interesting that he goes and he signs with, what's the name of this team that he signed with?
Asian Breeze, I believe.
Yeah. And then they were having, a scrimmage game or something on in this. I believe this game happened at the same time as yesterday's game.
It did. It was in the backfield.
It was in the backfield. And
there's like 200 people there.
I saw some video. I was going to set it up so we can actually watch some of the video for what it looked like.
Correct.
I did hear that there wasn't a single MLB scout from any of the teams that were there to watch Bauer.
Not surprising, but disappointing.
It's surprising. I'm going to tell you right now, this is now developed into something that is actually a little bit surprising. And I don't want to say on what side I feel, right or wrong situations. But at the same time, he is, if I had to choose, if Bauer didn't have his issues, to be honest with you, and I had to choose between Snell and Bauer, I would go for Bauer.
I would too.
I would go for Bauer because Bauer goes for the strikeout. Bauer's not walking 1,000 people. And maybe I'm wrong. Small sample size of watching Bauer.
Stats from 21.
Yeah, but
20.
I mean, I think right now he's the best available pitcher on the market.
I think you're right.
He's also come out and said he'll pay for league minimum. You've had players offer to pay for his contract.
Yep.
So that he can be on the team.
Yep.
And nobody's even going to look at him. That's how tarnished his images.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, man. Look, did he? I don't want to get into what he did and what he didn't do. And
I'll tell you what he did do.
know.
Let's talk about what he did do really fast. So the clips that I saw from his performance yesterday, he was telling batters what he was about to throw. He was he was letting people in the audience pick the pitch for him.
Yeah.
And this is how, and he struck out. I think it was I think he only pitched 2 innings. I think he struck out
4 or 5 guys.
Struck out 4 or 5 guys. I'm looking for the stat on it, and they're not really sharing that kind of information.
No.
This also, you can't even, there was an article about this on pretty much every single sports thing except for MLB.com. Didn't show any single thing. It was like Bauer didn't even exist.
Right.
Which is crazy considering what kind of name he has still.
Dude, basically,
he's a name.
He's a huge name.
He's not a good name right now for everybody, but he's a name.
Former Cy Young winner.
Yeah.
I mean, in 2020, shortened season, but still Cy Young winner. And basically, the beginning of this article, it's only a quarter-mile walk from the clubhouse to the field on the back fields of the Dodgers spring training complex. But on Sunday afternoon, it might as well have been to the moon and back.
Hey, man, that's
Dude,
USA Today.
Right. And it's amazing to me that
Bob Nightingale, thank you for your contributions to writing.
Dave Roberts didn't go up there and talk to him. Andrew Friedman. Maybe some of the players went and saw him, but were they even allowed to? I didn't see any photos.
The question is, did they talk to him behind the scenes, or did they go out? I mean, obviously, I think if a player
was there
went,
a group text kind of thing going on beforehand.
I mean, I heard that the players got together and they didn't want him back during when all the allegations and everything.
I heard that too from an inside source directly working for the Dodgers.
So, but
that's what I heard.
It's just interesting that it comes out. His name. I mean, for the most part,
it's a convoluted story.
You find out that the girl basically baited him into the entire thing, and it was a plan to begin with. So in that point, you do feel bad for him. At the same time, the situation that you're in, it's like, do we feel bad for you kind of situation? It's just weird. And you mentioned, if this would have happened 20 years ago, he'd be pitching still. Somebody would have picked him up.
No problem.
We could compare him to
even if the team got rid of him.
Yeah, we can compare him to other players in sports that have done, either on the same field or
Aroldis Chapman is still in the league, and I'll just say that. And he was accused of the same thing, if not worse. So
I think maybe it has something to do with Bauer's personality, what was happening behind the scenes. There's got to be, I feel like it's not a good situation to what team. He's a perfect player for the Oakland Athletics. Because, and I'm telling you this right now, they don't want to spend any money on anybody.
Sure.
He will bring people to that stadium because they're still playing in Oakland for, as far as I know, for another 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years, yeah.
So why not?
Yep.
Your image is already tarnished anyways because of what you're doing as far as leaving Oakland and going to Vegas. Vegas fans, some of them are excited. I mean, I'm not in Vegas. I'm excited you're getting out of Oakland. Oakland fans are not. So
absolutely,
give them something to see. Sign Bauer. Bring Bauer over there. I would watch that game. I'm not even going to lie. I'd watch that game just to see what the fan reaction was.
I can only imagine the fan reaction, the shirts, the coverage of the media, all of it, man. Honestly, it would be one of the greatest comeback stories ever. And let's face it, for guys like me and you, we're from the hometown that he is from. We're in the same hometown that he's from. Yeah. So there's a little personal added to this here, right?
I don't know the guy. I could give 2 shits, to be honest with you. I don't care. But it's
I don't know the guy, but to be honest with you,
I just think it's interesting to see how everybody else is reacting to him in that sport, considering how good he is. And for right or for wrong, I can't say if it's right or wrong. I don't want to say that because I'm just not. That's not my position on what's happening here. It's just interesting. It's interesting to see how people kind of just float around it. We just don't want to pick him up.
It's crazy to me because apparently, according to him, and I don't know if there's video out there, there probably is. I know he's pretty active on social media and
I watch some
YouTube.
Of his stuff.
Supposedly, he's got more pitches. His stuff is better. He's throwing harder. Yeah. So
he touched He was touching in the high 90s during that game.
Right. And before, when he was with the Dodgers, I think he was around 94, 95, maybe 96.
Probably right.
So we know velocity is not everything, but it helps, obviously. So I don't know, man. Like, I'd like to see him. I'd like to see the sword thing, to celebrate when he strikes somebody out. Like, not a lot of guys do that kind of stuff anymore. A lot of guys don't have personalities anymore. And I'll just say that, A lot of guys are very stoic, and that's cool too. I can appreciate that. But baseball does need some personality, and he's got one. So whatever team he goes to, I'll be rooting for him. I'll just say that, and I'll just leave it at that. That's where I stand.
Okay.
Yep. So good luck, Trevor. I hope we see you soon. And yeah, maybe Robbie, you're right. Oakland A's, go get him. Go get him. What's the league minimum? Like $500,000?
It's 700, and I mean for him, let's see. I think it's popped up here. I was looking at it. I think it's. Oh, Bauer would hit 99 miles an hour on the radar gun several times. That's what it said. So.
Well, he was jacked
$740,000.
$740,000 is the league minimum.
I'll pitch for the league minimum.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Yep. All right.
I think it's a good time. That's a good place to end this episode for sure.
I think so. I think we did pretty good here, if I don't say so myself.
I think so. We didn't touch much on Shohei.
Well,
to be honest with you, like nothing much was really. I mean,
pretty steady honestly.
Betts' bat's looking better.
Shohei's raking.
Yeah.
Freddie
Freeman's coming alive.
Just
Will
had a homer
Smith
yesterday.
finally hit a homer also.
Will
Looks
Smith's
like his
bat coming alive.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is what we want to see because we were kind of worried about Will Smith a little bit, talking about Barnes and blah, blah, blah. We know Barnes doesn't hit. Smith is looking like Will Smith now. So
yeah, I still think he's not going to be batting fourth. I think that's the right move to not bat him fourth. I like Teoscar Hernandez batting fourth, and they've been doing that in the lineup.
I'd like to see Teoscar hitting fourth, yes.
But I haven't seen Teoscar batting fourth while Will Smith is in the lineup. So that's going to determine. And really fast, let's see if they put the starting lineup.
Let's do that.
Really quick for today's game.
Yeah, Bobby Miller will be taking them out here in about 45 minutes. So we got to watch that.
I left the page already because I was looking at Trevor Bauer stuff. Give me 1 second.
See that? Robbie's fixated on Trevor Bauer here, guys.
And you can quote me.
Yep.
No.
Well,
it's just interesting. How is it not interesting to anybody else? All right,
dude,
so
it's one
I
of the
can
top
tell you
stories right now, and it's going to be.
It doesn't look like a lot of people are not in this lineup. So you got Lux batting lead off.
Lux is leading off. Wow.
So not only Lux is batting lead off, playing second base. So Betts isn't in the lineup. So you got Kike batting second, Outman batting third, Teoscar batting fourth, Chris Taylor batting fifth, Barnesy, which is batting way too high in the lineup. Way too high.
He's batting sixth.
With his 211.
Well,
Vargas is tipping back, which I'm kind of bummed about that. And then you got your boy Owings batting DH. Oh, and then Pablo.
Owings is battling for a 40-man spot, dude. I'm not going to lie. He's a really good defensive option out there in the field.
Well,
he actually went oppo yesterday.
Who do you replace between you got Chris Taylor, Kike Hernandez, Rojas are your three main
depending
guys
on the lineup, depending on what's going on in the lineup, if there needed to be any switch outs, of defensive substitutions. If Owings makes the team, he could be late inning, eighth inning, ninth inning defensive replacement for Muncy at third. He plays a really solid third base.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
He's the better athlete. He's got a better arm.
Right.
But he's not the hitter that Muncy is.
So your normal
go Chris Owings. I'm pulling for you.
Your normal 1, 2, 3, and 4 with Smith batting fourth is not in the lineup. So there's no Shohei, there's no Freddie Freeman, there's no Mookie Betts.
Well, I know Wednesday is the last spring training game here.
Yeah.
Before they depart for South Korea.
Is it really already the last one? When is the South Korea game?
Well, I believe what I heard, they have, it might even be this weekend, a couple of exhibition games. And then next Wednesday is opening day against the Padres.
So I wonder if Yamamoto's either going to pitch tomorrow then, or he's not going to pitch at all for the rest of spring training.
I would think he needs one more start. I would think either tomorrow or, because that would
Wednesday.
Be day 6. It would, or Wednesday, but that would be a full week since he last pitched. So I don't know how they're going to do it. But we'll keep you all informed, that's for sure. Stay tuned to Talkin Dodgers.
We will.
We appreciate you guys.
Yep. And on that note, if you like what you're hearing, obviously if you made it this far into the podcast, this 30-minute podcast that ended up going 45 minutes long, click the thumbs up, the follow, the subscribe buttons. Tell your friends about us. Help us spread like a virus. Go on and check out the Patreon page, patreon.com/RotYourBrainMedia. Your contributions help us make more content. And on that note,
you guys rock. Go
Aaron,
Blue.
say goodbye.
Goodbye, guys. Have a good day.